A break from winter is on the way. I'll break down the best hours to enjoy the warmer weather and when rain moves back in.
In need of repair. Most units at Camelot Village are still empty and damaged months after Tropical Storm Chantal. How much condo owners have paid for repairs and the difficult rebuilding process. Storming the court, one of the most exciting scenes in college sports, can also be dangerous for officials and opposing teams. We take a trip to Murph's Turf to see what we can learn about the most recent court storming at the Duke-UNC game. Welcome in to WRAL News at 7. Hey, we got a lot to talk about tonight, including this. Homes in Orange County still in disrepair 7 months after Chantal came through.
So you remember this is the newscast also that wants to hear from you about all the stories that we cover and everything else. We want your feedback on anything you see in this newscast or you'd like us to discuss. Send your comments and questions to 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. So these homes, the ones that you see here still in disrepair, this is Camelot Village, and most of them are still empty right now after the storm came through last summer.
Yeah, some of the homeowners have spent tens of thousands of dollars to make repairs. As WRAL's Destiny Patterson reports, the rebuilding process has been tough.
The emptiness inside these Camelot Village condos is felt even outside the buildings themselves.
It's still a ghost town.
This flood-prone community is just a shell of what it used to be. Safety notices from July sit on the doors of many units here in Camelot Village, 7 months after Tropical Storm Chantal.
I hope that progress will be made quickly on getting funds to build these units back so that this can be the vibrant little place that it was in Chapel Hill before the storm.
Barbara Duffy with the property management company says red tape with federal emergency management and the insurance company has caused delays.
This has been our most difficult claim in terms of working with the adjusters.
Duffy tells me that they started meeting with contractors this week to start the rebuilding process through the property management company. But she says about half a dozen owners started repairs on their own. That includes Andrew Shaver. How much money have you spent so far?
It's in terms of raw money, not like my time of actually working in the place. Approximately $20,000, I think. I did not want to have to wait for an unknown amount of time. I wanted to have control over the timing and the process.
But now it's a waiting game.
Obviously, hoping for the investment to come back through the insurance company, right? We have flood insurance here, so I should be reimbursed for what I put in. And but let's see. I mean, I don't know if I can bank on that or not.
Duffy says getting that money back will be a process on its own. Destiny Patterson, WRAL News, Chapel Hill.
Thank you, Destiny. So if it feels like it's been super cold for like the last 3 months, or it feels like infinity at this point, you're not alone. That's been the case. Kat, though, we're going to get a little break over the next couple of days. Highs in the 60s tomorrow.
It is going to feel glorious outside. You've got the sunshine as well as help things out, but it's not going to last very long, so you've got to make your outdoor plans while you can. It'll be the warmest day since January 11th. 66 degrees in Raleigh and Durham, 60 in Roanoke Rapids, 64 in Rocky Mount, and upper 60s in Fayetteville. Beautiful with mostly sunny skies. Just know when you wake up tomorrow morning, it's still going to be cold. Not the 14 that we woke up to this morning, but 30 degrees below. By lunchtime, we're up to 57, and it ends up being just a beautiful day for your temperature setup. We do have some changes coming with a chance for rain soon.
All right, thank you, Kat. Hey, let's get you caught up now on the other big headlines for today. These are the 5 things you should know right now. The now former president of the Wake Forest Chamber pleaded guilty to embezzlement. As part of a plea, prosecutors dropped 3 of the charges. But Simpers was sentenced to unsupervised probation for up to 2 years in order to do community service. Simpers resigned from the chamber in 2024. Investigators believe an off-duty officer accused of assault and car theft is now out of the state. You're taking a look at this Charles Stokes there. Deputies think they found his car in Henderson where he works. He's an officer in Virginia where he's accused of shooting a woman in her car. The Vance County Sheriff doesn't believe that he is in our area any longer.
Shaw University putting some students in hotel rooms after a fire broke out at one of its dorms last week. The university sent an email to the students impacted saying that in-state students should return today. All others can return through Thursday. The email also says faculty and staff are extending additional support during this time. A federal judge ordered UNC to lift a ban on protesters and allow them back on campus. The school had banned them after pro-Palestinian demonstrations in 2024. Several people were arrested in showdowns between protesters and campus police. And North Carolina saw a sports betting frenzy during football season. Wagers in January exceeded $600 million for the fifth straight month. Bettors ponied up more than $666 million last month. Online sports betting has been legal in North Carolina for just under 2 years. UNC has to shell out $50,000 after fans stormed the court in the Battle of the Blues. The Tar Heels came back after being down at the half, hitting a three just before the buzzer. It turns out there were 0.4 of a second left on the clock. So fans went back to their seats, and then when the clock hit 0, they stormed the court again. Duke head coach Jon Scheyer was not happy about this. He said one of their staffers was actually hit in the face, and he called the whole situation unsafe. The Orange County District Attorney weighed in on this, and that is your quote of the day. The Duke men's basketball coach alleged multiple assaults occurring against his staff. If provided with evidence to support these allegations, they should be charged and we will prosecute. With over 20,000 recording devices there, it's impossible to imagine that these assaults would not have been captured on one or more of them. So please, if you are in possession of evidence of these crimes, please come forward. A little tongue-in-cheek there from the DA. But it makes sense why Scheyer was upset, right? It can be a dangerous situation. It was 2 years ago when Duke player Kyle Filipowski was injured when Wake Forest fans rushed to the court. Remember, he hurt his knee. But can the college basketball brass really stop this from happening? I took that question to Murph's Turf. Murph, what a weekend in sports. Of course, Saturday, we got to talk about it. You were at the game. What was it like from your vantage point when the fans stormed the court?
Pure pandemonium. I mean, what makes this rivalry so great? Carolina down 6, hits 2 threes, and then hits a 3 at the buzzer. And you could just see it coming. The swarm of humanity enveloped the court, and Duke's players, unfortunately, were still out there.
The coaches were pretty quick to talk about this. Scheyer was, not mincing words. He definitely made it sound like this was personal for him having to protect his family. What are they saying now?
Well, Jon Scheyer said that the male staff member that was injured in the incident is fine and is going to be okay, but reiterated again today that this can't happen. This is not something that he wants to see happen, and I think Duke is particularly sensitive about it. They get the court stormed on them a lot. More than 73% of the time in their losses over the last 30 years, they've gotten the court stormed on them. And so they're one of the few teams in the country where if they lose a road game, fans and students are coming onto the court.
And they've got another matchup with UNC. What do you think? I mean, if Duke wins, is Duke going to storm the court?
I don't know. Duke does a really good job of getting ropes out there and keeping people off the court. Their fans kind of know not to do that. They kind of think maybe they're a little bit above it when you're ranked in the top 5 all the time. But there's certainly going to be a lot of animosity in that game. Those students are pretty clever at making sure UNC players know that they're there. And so I don't know there'll be a court storm, but there will be a lot of vitriol at the UNC players at that game.
And this is the first year that teams can be fined for court storming. Anything that we can learn from this experience?
Yeah, I mean, the ACC put in this new structure, $50,000 fine for UNC for the first offense. And a lot of it is not that you can't storm the court, but you got to give time for the officials and the opposing players to get off. I'm not sure that the freshman sitting in the front row really cares much about the fine or the ACC's policy. And so it's just really hard to implement. Like that. The game was still going on just a second earlier, and now all of a sudden all these people are storming. UNC said they'll review their security measures, but they think they have enough protocols in place to prevent this. But it's almost a factor of life living in college basketball.
All right, Murph, thank you.
Thank you.
More to come here at 7 o'clock. We are checking the facts. Did Roy Cooper release the suspect in that fatal Charlotte train stabbing? The timeline isn't exactly adding up. But this story isn't just about timelines. It's about messaging.
Her blood is on your hands.
Will this move the needle in North Carolina's Senate race? That story and a whole lot more when WRAL News at 7 continues.
And let's quickly look ahead at some of the news stories we're keeping an eye on this week. Tomorrow, the Buddhist monks complete their journey across the country, arriving in Washington, D.C. They'll be there for a few days with different events around the nation's capital. A pair of delayed economic reports come out this week, starting Wednesday with the January jobs report. The delay was because of the partial government shutdown. The January inflation report comes out on Friday. On Thursday, in-person early voting begins in North Carolina. These are the races that decide who will be on the ballot in November. For example, our state's open Senate seat. Early voting runs until the end of the month. By the way, Election Day for the primary, March 3rd. We'll be right back.
A whole lot of finger pointing at the state capitol today. Lawmakers held a hearing about law enforcement, asking about crime and ICE and more. And a key part of the conversation was about Irina Zarutska, the young woman who was killed on that Charlotte light rail train last year. Now, no decision or anything came out of this today. It was all about accountability. And a handful of Republican lawmakers, they blame Charlotte officials for crimes like that. And a Republican candidate from North Carolina's open Senate seat blames former Governor Roy Cooper for it. Maybe you've heard about this. Here's the tweet that came out from Republican Michael Whatley over the weekend saying DeCarlos Brown was one of 3,500 inmates that Roy Cooper released from prison. Is that true? I spoke to PolitiFact reporter Paul Spey about it. All right, Paul, help me break this down. Give me the details behind this claim.
Right. So this new claim that former Governor Roy Cooper is responsible for DeCarlos Brown being out on the streets in Charlotte last year where he's suspected of stabbing Irina Zarutska. Well, that comes from a settlement from back in 2021 when the Cooper administration agreed to release 3,500 inmates early as part of a deal with civil rights groups who had complained that they weren't taking care of people during the pandemic. DeCarlos Brown's name is in those settlement documents.
So Brown was let out early. Is there some credence to this? Is there credit to it?
Well, his name is on there, but he was not let out early. I know that sounds confusing, but here's what happened. Brown was released from prison for armed robbery in September of 2020. This settlement agreement was not reached until February 25th the following year, 2021. Now you might say, why is his name on there? Well, he was arrested for a new crime, new charges, assault on a female, February 6th. On February 15th, they held a hearing and said, hey, are we going to bring this guy back into prison? Or are we going to let him stay out on what they call supervision? They decided to allow him to stay out on supervision for the remainder of his term, and which he served out free outside of prison until that September. Now, his name appears in the settlement because that February 15th hearing, although it happened before the settlement was reached, was allowed to be counted in the state's quota for people who were released early. So he was not released early. He's allowed to be counted as being released early.
Now, anyone at home with a law degree is saying, yeah, I get it. Other people, their head is spinning right now. And I think that's part of the design in a lot of ways when it comes to politics and how these sorts of stories are used. One thing that is clear is that crime, I believe, is going to be a really big part of what we see as we move through election season. We have Republicans saying we're hard on crime, Democrats are soft on crime. I think that is that messaging going to be continuing?
Oh, absolutely. What we're seeing shape out on the campaign trail is Democrats talking about affordability, saying people can't afford things anymore, people don't have access to affordable health care, things like that. And Republicans are saying Democrats aren't good on crime. They're, talking about people who are in the country illegally. They're talking about crime rates. And you're seeing Michael Whatley, one of the U.S. Senate candidates in our race against Roy Cooper, talking about Irina Zarutska again and again. And at the hearings today down at the Capitol, the lawmakers there are interviewing the sheriff. They want to talk about crime because they feel like they have a better message, Republicans do, than Democrats.
Okay. We'll continue to see how it all shakes out and watch out for more of your reporting. Thank you, Paul.
Kat, we got to talk about this nice warm-up. Tomorrow is going to be beautiful.
Oh, absolutely. People have waited nearly a month for this.
Yes.
We're used to these ups and downs, but we've just been down lately, with the cold temperatures. Finally, tomorrow, we bounce back mid-60s. Our normal high this time of year is starting to go up for the year. It's now 55 degrees. We are still pretty mild on Wednesday, and then by Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, temperatures cool back off into the low to mid-50s. Here's the thing. Tomorrow is going to be the best day this week to get outside and enjoy the weather. So try to make your outdoor plans for tomorrow. We do have a little bit of rain that will be possible Wednesday. It's not going to be much rain, though. We're talking, a tenth to a hundredth of an inch of rain. This weekend, you could see some more. Tomorrow morning, still chilly. So if you're a morning walker or jogger, just know it'll still be cool enough where you're going to want long sleeves or a jacket tomorrow morning. By noon, 57 degrees. It ends up being beautiful at lunchtime. If you can take your lunch outside, you will be glad that you did. And then by 4 o'clock, that is when we should be up toward our high temperature in the mid-60s. But a cold front is coming, so like I showed you, the warm-up will be relatively short-lived. We've got the cold front on the way for tomorrow night. But during the day tomorrow, you'll get to see lots of sunshine. Tomorrow night, here comes the front with the rain chances along the front. That would mainly come pretty early in the day, especially for the southern half of our viewing area. Futurecast here, not terribly impressed with rain chances, but there is that potential on Wednesday, and then we will gradually cool down. Taking a live look at Franklinton, they have taken down the igloo and they've transformed the season. It is time for Valentine's Day, and that's on the 7-day forecast now as well. Just 10 days until we see the sunset after 6 p.m. and the sunset after 7 o'clock is not that far away. It's less than a month away now. Your bus stop forecast tomorrow morning will be chilly. Temperatures start out in the upper 20s to near 30 degrees early on. Will gradually warm up. So teachers, if you are able to do class outside, give students a lunch outside, let them get some energy out. It's just going to be a beautiful day for it. 66 by the afternoon. Homework outside as well after school tomorrow. Great weather for the after school practices as well. Wednesday, we'll track some light rain out there. You should still have some time, though, to get outside and enjoy the 60-degree weather again on Wednesday. Wednesday morning, the low, just 48 degrees. This morning, it was 14, so it's really going to be feeling a lot better by the time we get to Wednesday morning. Thursday, Friday, highs are in the low 50s. Still milder than what we've seen lately. Low temperatures as low as they go for the next week. It's going to be close to the freezing mark. No more teens, no more 20s. Valentine's Day trending drier on Saturday. We do still have a chance for rain Valentine's Day night, so that could affect some date nights. Stay tuned for updates as we get a bit closer. Just know Sunday looks like the wetter day this weekend, and the weekend is trending more toward an all-rain event for us.
Okay, Kat, thanks. Hey, the Seahawks, Super Bowl champs, and so are 3 players from our area. Wake Forest, Apex, and Goldsboro all represented last night. One last thing, and some of your feedback after the break. Hey, one last thing. A handful of North Carolina natives are now Super Bowl champions. This is so cool. 3 Seattle Seahawks players are all from our area.
Really cool. So NC State fans, you already know about Drake Thomas. I'm trying to get Drake from Wake to catch on.
I've been saying it. I like it.
So he was a linebacker who played for the Wolfpack, but before he did, he was at Heritage High School in Wake Forest, and he's now a Super Bowl champion. Jaron Reed plays defensive tackle. Boy, were they a handful. That defensive line for Drake May, taking him down, making life miserable. He went to Goldsboro High School, the city of Goldsboro posting this on Facebook. Congratulations to Jaron Reed. That's a good photo.
Yeah, and Derek Young is from Apex. Before he played receiver for the Seahawks, he played ball at Middle Creek High School. The Mustangs also posting to Facebook, Young is a Super Bowl champion. Very cool. Hey, we want to get to some quick feedback from some of you who are watching at home tonight. We watched these emails come in during the show. Jack, love what Jack pointed out. Our viewers are very attuned to what we're doing. They pointed out a little technical problem in our first block. Has anyone noticed Kat Campbell's microphone not working? Yes, we noticed.
We were going to fix it anyway, but Jack, thanks for putting a little pressure on us. Another viewer writing in about the Tar Heels fans storming the court, writing, if the win would be taken away from the school whose fans storm the court, they would stop. That seems aggressive. I think that could get a little out of control.
I don't know that the ACC would want that.
No, and it's part of the
Yeah.
It's part of the fun.
But it's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt. Hey, Mark wrote in about the rebuilding those homes in Orange County after Chantal. He pointed out that these residences have flooded over and over again. This flooding goes back decades. Absolutely correct in that it goes back decades.
It's one of those things that make you think, though, if it's an area that they know is a problem, and it's happened there so many times before, why does it still take so long for people to get the help that they need? Cheryl writing in saying, I watch the 6 p.m. news daily on WRAL. Thank you for that, Cheryl. But my favorite is the 7 p.m. news, reflecting on the 6 here a little bit, that WRAL does. And I want to thank you for getting to the nitty-gritty of what's happening around us. So that is what we're really trying to do here every day. If you watch a bunch of our newscasts, then you'll really see how this one's a bit different. We spend a lot more time on different topics. We really try and flesh them out and let people know the full picture and all the context.
Yeah, and a lot of those topics come from the viewer emails that we watch very closely, and we so appreciate everybody who has reached in. So if you haven't yet done so, maybe this is the day that you decide to say hello to us. 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Keep the emails coming. Olympic zone is just minutes away. Here's a quick look at the medal count so far in the Winter Games. Italy in the lead, the host country, with 9 medals, 1 gold, 2 silver, and 6 bronze. The U.S. currently in 7th place.
And here's what's on deck right after this newscast. We've got Olympic zone coming up. We'll show you how the medals made, plus where the athletes stay between events. A look inside the Milan and Cortina Athletes Village. Thanks for watching WRAL News at 7. Olympic Zone is up next. Have a great night.